What's going on, guys? This is Gene over at Reject Studios here. We're giving kind of a behind-the-scenes type of video here for our recent covers that were put up for the month of October. Now, just a quick disclaimer before I begin this. I'm not very trained in this in this whole audio thing. So, basically, I was taking classes at my local college, and they decided to cut the funding right when the program became a little bit more advanced. Or at least, I should say, when it became more advanced for me, when I started to get, the better classes and stuff like that. Anyways, so I might be committing some super noob-tastic freaking audio mistakes, I guess. But feel free to point them out or have any kind of constructive criticism or just criticism in general. I don't care. But let's get started with this. So right off the bat, I'm using GarageBand to go ahead and track. Usually I do just the rough tracking in GarageBand, and then I export it on over to Pro Tools. For these batch of songs that we did for this month, honestly, I just wanted to see how it would go out with just using GarageBand. So far, so good. I mean, I guess it sounds okay. It probably would have been better in the mastering process if I used Pro Tools like I usually do. But yeah, let's go with that. So right off the bat, I always start with the reference here. Again, for those who are unfamiliar with the song, you hear this on the Haunted Mansion ride whenever you go to Disneyland, and also through the years it's been, remade and remastered and had a lot of different things going on at the with this particular song. So if we did that, then it'd be kind of weird. But anyways, this is just a bit of the original.
Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize. Now don't close your eyes and don't try to hide. For a silly spook, they sit by your side.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of the original. It's specifically towards the end of the ride, like not necessarily during the whole thing, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so with an electronic drum kit, I went ahead and played along to this original, and then basically just started layering it from there. I wanted to go for like a big echoey kind of boomy sound for the drums, but not this big, like, I guess, no, let me rephrase that. I wanted a big boomy kick, but not necessarily anything else. But you know what, I'll just shut up so you can so you can hear it. Also with the kind of a gallopy sort of, like, just kind of weird hi-hat beats and stuff like that. But anyways, so that's pretty much, I mean, the drums is pretty straightforward. It doesn't really get too intricate until the solo at the end, which honestly, that was just me hitting a bunch of shit. So it was not necessarily written, note for note, and it's not like I had carefully crafted that one. I just wanted everybody to have a solo for the song, so why not? Let's go. With as far as these two instruments, the flute organ and the string ensemble, it was just going to add some extra ambiance. There wasn't really too much going on with them. So, I mean, nothing, just a little bit to spice it up a little bit. It kind of sounds better in context, in my opinion. But so, pretty straightforward. The big stack, now for the rhythm section and the bass, pretty much, I didn't end up using this. I had just picked up the Amplitude plugin, and I wanted to try out to see how GarageBand's, like, I guess amp presets shaped up to the Amplitude ones, and honestly, I kind of didn't like it, but this is what it sounded like initially. versus a bass that actually made it onto the track is. It just seemed like it had a little bit more girth to it, so I decided to leave the amplitude one in. That also goes for guitars. This is one of the first things I've actually used all DI with hardly any of my own analog effects. This is just mostly me testing the waters with the amplitude plugin, and so far it's worked out really well. It also does clean and other distorted preamps. The one I got specifically was Amplitude 4. It's basically all the Marshall products. They can't say Marshall, but it's basically Marshall. Like if I pull up the plugin itself, it's like that's a fucking Marshall. Come on, guys. But anyways, so this is the clean guitar, which I wanted to be kind of chimey, kind of echoey sounding. Very rhythmic. Actually, this is probably one of my favorite parts of this track. Is the that part right there. Just in context, I really like it. So. As he sings Silly Spook. Yeah, and as far as guitars or distorted guitars go, it was just pretty much 16ths, the pretty chuggy sounds for the most part. Same goes for the guitar solo. I mean, it honestly, like if we take a bigger look into it, it was pretty it's like pretty cold and not cold. It's pretty copy paste is the term I'm looking for. Sorry, I don't know what was going on there, but as you can see, I had a lot of takes on it, and I just kind of picked and choose which sounded the best in my opinion. That's what made it onto the final product. The bass and the bass solo we've kind of already gone over, but this is actually a more simpler solo, meaning to say that I didn't have to do a lot of work to it. I think I still have amplitude on it. Yeah. Amplitude is still on the bass solo. I just added a bit of weird, chimey, chorusy kind of sounds to it. And it needed to cut off right away because we had the huge snare hit coming in with the huge snare hit coming from the drums. So much louder in these headphones, I swear. Everybody's awake now, and I think my monitoring isn't on, but it'll still pick it up. Anyways, let's see. Moving on to Michael's part, I have not figured out a way of how I'm gonna exactly put these in, but a quick little Easter egg for everybody who gives a shit. Michael had a few takes on singing backups for this. Honestly, he'll probably make it somewhere into the backup harmony section, which is somewhere over here in this region. But yeah, he was singing about how ghosts go and try to get the punana. So this is a clip of him actually saying that. Uh-oh. I think. Oh, I love it. I don't know what this is. Let's take a look. Oh. I don't think it's anything. Why do I have this?
Sing that.
I don't know what that was there for. Anyways, come back to this. So I don't know where Mike's gonna fit quite in the harmony section. I just know he's gonna be there somewhere around here. He kind of has more of a sinister kind of sound that he decided to go with. Just very briefly, we can play a little bit of it.
In the tombstones quake, spooks come out for a singing wake.
Very kind of theatrical, but you get the idea. Vocals, obviously, or not obviously, but it took a pretty long time, at least in the beginning. I got 2 harmony tracks. I titled these low and mid vocals pretty much. I'm going with the lower range on this time, and then more of a mid range on this, as the title implies. So, with this in mind, I think I was trying to replicate the old school as much as I could, but honestly, it kind of didn't really register too well, in my opinion. I think that it was more of a spur of the moment type of thing. Probably should have taken more time on it, but this is what it actually came out to.
When the cryptos creak and the tombstones quake, spooks come out for a singing wake. Happy haunts materialize and begin to vocalize. Grinning ghosts come out to socialize. Don't close your eyes and don't try to hide, or a silly spook may sit by your side.
I mean, hearing it by itself, it works out okay. Just again, I wish I would have taken more time on it. The new thing with the vocal tracks is I did also pick up a new plugin for it. It is the Butch Vig vocals. Basically, this is a pretty straightforward, just an EQ, pretty much an all-in-one vocal type of plugin. I mean, there's a bunch of distortion effects, it's just saturation, a couple of the essential dynamic effects as well, and of course EQ and all kinds of other fun stuff. My favorite part is probably some of the presets that Butch Vig has already put into these. So, for example, I started with the lead vocals preset and then just kind of tweaked it to my liking. To a little bit. I think all I did was add just a little bit of the low end just to get that real low sound on this particular track. And at the end of the day, it sounded pretty freaking cool. I like how it came out.
When the cryptos creak and the tombstones quake, spooks come out for a singing wake. Happy haunts materialize and begin to vocalize. Grinning ghosts come out to socialize.
So so far I'm really enjoying the Butch Vig plugin. So that's just me. Lastly, we're almost done here. We're looking at some of the just pretty standard, oh my gosh, I'm losing words, MIDI instruments and things like that. This one will replicate the intro probably closest, if anything, that's, remotely close to the original. It just kind of follows the opening progression, and then I'm talking over it, which we'll get to in just a second. So it's basically 2 pads, a string ensemble, and then an organ. The stratosphere and the glistening pad themselves already kind of give it a weird sound. It just kind of complements the strings and the organ, in my opinion. Can give off a pretty weird vibe, but then of course the cathedral organ and the string ensemble is pretty straightforward. that's pretty much, I mean, that goes. I mean, together, again, I like how it came out, but yeah. The whisper effects is nowhere to be found in the beginning. I think I moved it towards the end. Yes, I did. Originally, I was going to have some of these weird whispers in the background. It sounded kind of funny, but here it is. Yeah, definitely pretty weird sounding. I wasn't, I mean, I liked it, but not enough for it to be in the same thing twice, so I just put it towards the end. Then for the speaking section, what is this? Oh, that's the build-up, never mind. Anyways, okay. Yeah, the intro here, which is me just speaking, I was going for the old school, like, megaphone, like, really distorted. I think I just cranked up all the distortions on the plugin, if I remember correctly. Yep, there it is. And I just had a couple of takes of me talking, which was pretty, it took a few times, but, here it is.
When hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange, frightening sounds echo through the halls. Whenever candlelights flicker where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight.
And there was one thing I forgot to mention. I did have a directional mixer on it. So basically it's moving forward and backwards through that whole section. I thought I had pan on it. I guess it would have been about the same. And then there's a volume on it because it started off kind of harsh. So yeah, that kind of goes for that one. Lastly, we had this weird build-up effect towards the end of the drum solo. I might extend it before the actual final mix gets put out, because I feel like it's kind of quiet right now, but it's just a small stock, just horror build-up. Kind of reminds me of Van Halen for some reason, and I'm not 100% if I'm going to keep it, but here we go. You get, and you get the idea for that. So that pretty much covers at least this song. Again, I'm open to criticism with this whole thing. I'm just kind of experimenting and learning as I go type of thing, trying to get as much information as I can from my peers and other people who actually know what they're doing. So, yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, give us feedback. We'd love to know, what's going on with you guys, maybe how we could improve, what you guys would like to hear, and, things of that nature. So until next time, I will see you guys then, and I'm going to try to go ahead and knock out a couple of the other ones, if number one, if I still have battery left, and number two, if we keep doing more of these covers. So until next time, guys, see you later.